All right. So we're back to do the second half of the service, Numbers chapter 8. We're going to do this first in Hebrew, do the last verses, so it'll definitely be much faster.
Yeah. You went mighty fast, not fast, but you went mighty smooth to 1 to 80, 89.
Yeah.
Wow, hold on. That's good. We say something. Oh, no, I don't care if you like him.
All right, so this is it. Numbers, the 8th chapter, and the first verse in Hebrew. Wayadabar, and the Lord, and spake the Most High to Moses, saying, so Wayadabar, Yahweh al Mashah la Amar. Verse 2. The bar al Aharon wa Amartha oth Oliwa Baha I Lathka Ath Hana Rath al Mawal Panya Hama na Wara Yarwa Shaba'ith Hana Rawath. Verse 3. Wa Ya'aish Kan Aharon al Mawal Panya Hama na Wara Ha'ayla Narath Yaha Ka'ashra Tazawa Yahweh Ath Mashah. Mashah. Verse 4. Waza Ma'ai Shah Hama Nara Makwa Shah Zahab Aid Yaraka Aid Paraka Makwa Shah Hawa'a Kama Ra'a Ashra Hara'am Yahweh Ath Mashah Kan Aisha Ath Hama Nara. Verse 5. Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashah la Amar. Verse 6. Kak Ath Haloyim Levites. Martha Wak Bunyam Yasha Allah. Wataha Rath Atham. Verse 7. Waka Aisha Laham Lata Haram Hazar Alyaham Maya Kata'ath Wahai Bayarwa Tha'ir Ayel Ko Basharma Waka Baswa Ga Salat Bagad Yaham Waha Taharwa. Verse 8. Pardon me. Verse 8. Wala Kakwa Par Bun Bakwar Wama Nakathwa Salath Bala Wala Basha Mun Wapar Shanya Bun Bakwar Thakak Laka Ta'ath. Verse 9. Waha Kurabtha Ath Haloyim Lapanya Aho Mawa'id Waha Kwahotha Ath Ko Aidath Bunya Salak Bunyam Yasha Allah. Verse 10. Waha Kurabtha Ath Haloyim Lapanya Yahweh Wasa Makwa. What is this? Verse 10. Wasa Makwa Bunyam Yasha Allah O Salak Ath Yadyaham Ayel Haloyim. Verse 11. Waha Nayap Aha Run Ath Haloyim Thana Wapa Lapanya Yahweh Ma'ath Banya Yasha Allah Waha Iwa La Ibad Ath Ibadath Yahweh. Verse 12. Waha Loyim Yasa Makwa Ath Yadyaham Ayel Ra'ash Haparium Wa'ai Shah Ath Kud Kata'ath Wa'ath Kud Allah La Yahweh Laka Par Ayel Haloyim. verse 13. Waha'ai madtha ath haloyim la panya aharan wala panya banyaham salat banyamwa. What is this? 13 for his sons. Banyam wa waha salak waha naptha atham thana wapa layahawa. Verse 14. Waha badaltha ath haloyim matha wak banya yasha'ala wahayawa laya haloyim. Verse 15. Wa akarya kan yaba awa haloyim la ibad ath ahol ma wa aid wata hartha atham waha naptha atham thana wapa. Verse 16. Kaya Nathaniel Nathaniel Hama Laya Matha Wak Bunyam Yasha'ala Thakath Pata Arath Ko Rakam Baka War Ko Mabunyam Yasha'ala La Kwakthia Atham Laya. Verse 17. Kaya Laya Ko Baka War Babunyam Yasha'ala Ba'adam Waba Bama Bayawum Akathya Ko Bakawar Ba'arataza Matazarium Hakwadashthaya Atham Laya. Verse 18. Wa'akwak Ath Haloyim Thakath Ko Bakawar Babunyam Yasha'ala. Verse 19. Wa'atha na ath haloyim nathanyim la aharan wala bunyam yinwa wala bunyamwa matha wak bunyam yasha'ala la ibad ath ibadath bunyam yasha'ala ba'ahol mawa'id wala Kapar ayo bunyam yasha'ala wala yahaya babunyam yasha'ala napap salak nagap baga shath bunyam yasha'ala o hakodash. Verse 20. Wa ya'aish masha wa aharan wa kod aidath bunyam yasha'ala laloyim Kakol Ashra Tazawa Yahawa Ath Masha Laloyam Kun Aishwa Laham Bunyam Yasha'ala. Verse 21. Wayathaka Tawa Haloyam Wayatsalak Wayakabaswa Bagadyaham Wayanap Aharan Atham Thana Wapa Lapanya Yahawa Wayaka Par Al Yaham Aharan Lata Haram. Verse 22. Waya Akarya Kan Ba'awa Haloyim La Ibad Ath Iba Dathma Ba'a Hol Mawa'ai Lapanya Aharan Wala panya bunyawa salak bunyamwa ka'ashra tazawa yahawa athma sha al holoyim kun aishwa laham. Verse 23. Wayadabar yahawa al masha la amar. Verse 24. Za'at ashra la loyim mabun kamash wa aishara wa aisharayim shana wama aila yabawa awa salak yabawa awa la tazaba ba'ai badath aho mawa aid. Verse 25. wama bun kamashim shana yashawab mataza ba ha'ibadar wala'a ya'ibad iwad. Verse 26. 26, last verse. Washa Arath Ath Akaria Salak Akwa Ba'aho Mawa'id Lama Lashamar Mashama Rath Wa'aiba Dal La'a Ya'ibad Kaka Fa'aisha Loloyim Bama Sha Marathma. Touching that charge. Bama Sha Marathma. All right. So that's Hebrew, ancient.
When you read, you say that's a lot. What they do? Makes you keep going.
Say again.
You say that's a lot. Is that what you be saying? When you be reading, I hear you say that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, is that what you say?
And when I'm reading,
salak.
Salak. So if I'm reading a word and I mispronounce the word, then I'll say it's like, oh my bad, that's not the word. I should have said such and such. So Salakia or Salak is pardon me or excuse.
Okay.
I made a mistake or misspoke or.
I didn't think you were saying that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, come on. You want English now.
So now we're in Numbers, the 8th chapter, and the first verse. So it reads, it says, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron, Aharon, and say unto him, when thou lightest the lamps, the 7 lamps, shall give light over against the candlestick, right? So when you talk about the 7 lamps, what are you talking about? The menorah, right? So the 7 lamps or the menorah was supposed to be lit continually, right? I think it's in Leviticus, whole list, Leviticus, I think it's 24.
Is that the lamp on that table right
there? Huh?
Yeah.
Right, the menorah. You see it in different fashions. So write down Leviticus 24. Leviticus 24. 1 down to 9. Leviticus 24, 1 to 9. And yeah, give me 1 second. Right. And then also Exodus 25. Starting at verses 31 to 40. So Exodus 25, 31 to 40. So we'll start off in Exodus first. I'm gonna go to Exodus and come back to Leviticus. So Exodus 25 and 31 says, and thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work, with shall the candlestick be made. His shaft, which is like the middle here, right? The shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same, right? So you got the shaft, you got the branches, you got the bowls, and you got the knops where the oil is supposed to be for the pouring in it so it can light continually. All right. It says they all supposed to be made out of gold. It says, and in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knot under 2 branches of the same, a knot under 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. So it's like these 3 over here and these 3 over here make up the 6. Then you got the one that's in the middle, right? It says their knops and their same branches shall be of the same. All it shall be one beaten work of pure gold. And thou shalt make the 7 lamps thereof, and they shall light the lamps thereof, that they may give light over against it. And the tongues thereof and the snuff dishes thereof shall be of pure gold. So this is going into actually the other vessels in there. But the menorah, the candlestick, it was one candlestick that was in the tabernacle, right? That was being used to light the tabernacle, right? So he fashioned it a certain way according to how the Most High wanted it to be fashioned. Now the Most High put a responsibility on the rest of Israel. Now jump to Leviticus 24. So Leviticus 24:1, it says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure oil olive, beaten for the light, to cause the lamps to burn continually. So now, well, as this is all being set up, the Most High says, now you priest Moses, go tell the children of Israel that they always got to make sure that there's olive oil beaten that is provided to the priest. Why? So that it could be provided for the candlestick, the menorah, to burn continually, right? They didn't want it to have a case where all of a sudden they ran out of oil because someone forgot or didn't bring in the oil. You rather have a surplus of oil necessary so that the priest, when they needed it, they can just go refill those bowls or not so that it can burn, right? I remember we used to have, I don't know if it's still in there. We used to have we had a different menorah that actually had bowls that you had to pour the oil in to burn, right? Normally you'll see a menorah with a regular candle, right? And you light the top of the candle. But this menorah was just like, almost like how it's described in the scriptures, where it had bowls in it, and you'd have to go and fill the bowl with the oil, and then make sure you have your little wick there and you light it. And as it's lit, the oil over time is going to burn out, but then you'd have to go and fill it back up so that it can keep on burning. So that was one of the priest's responsibility, to make sure that that candlestick, that menorah, burned from morning to evening. That's what we're going to read.
That was a wick inside of the oil.
No, yeah, what we had was a wick inside the oil to keep it burning. Like how you see a candle, like the little bowl, like even the tea light, right? It has a little thing in the middle, like a little metal base, but then the rest of it is filled with the wax of the candle, and you burn it. Then when it's all finished around it, all that's left there is probably a little burnt stem of the wick, and then the base, right? So we had one that had that in it, and we liked that, but the oil was in it, and that's what kept it lit, right? It will saturate the wick, and then it would just keep burning. But then I think what we had, I'm not sure if we didn't do it right, because it kind of burned the thing that was holding it. It kind of like, I don't know if it wasn't made of good material, sturdy material, kind of like burn the thing up sometimes. Yeah, within the bowl, right? And then it kind of, I guess for us, as we're sitting up here doing the service, it's different from, us having it always on hand. It's like we're teaching, we get so into the spirit of the teaching of the service, of the class, of the questions or whatever. It's like, oh man, somebody gonna get the thing to put this in here. Like, you got to stop, because you got to make sure it's continuing to burn. It was only but a small little thing, and then you had to go and fill that, and then sometimes it burned, and then you're like, oh, what the heck? And he's like, all right, we'll figure that out later, right?
Down Georgia, we had at my grandmother's house.
Like the lantern?
Right?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. And he had it in there too. Yeah.
If you drop it, or I'll catch on fire.
Yeah, because it spills, and then all that catch. Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me touch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're talking about the house there. Yeah, that was serious down south.
Yeah.
Hey, the lights went off or something.
Yeah.
Heard that sucker go get a match. Boom. They would let me tell the kid, I do her. I killed you.
Yeah. This is you know, this is when you didn't have electricity in certain areas where you could just easily just turn the light on and just be there. But you know, this is old school custom ritual of having it, and it's going to be that same way when the temple is reestablished in the kingdom. It's going to be set back up. It'll be another gold menorah that'll be built into the temple with the showbread and everything else, and the Levites in their order to conduct the service. The only main thing that we know, as we were reading in the last chapter, when we're talking about peace offerings and this, that, and the third, sin offerings or trespass offerings won't be for the nation of Israel, right? We won't have to have a sin offering for us. The other nations will, right? Because they are now going to be under the order of Israel. So they're going to be sinning and they're going to be having trespass offerings. So that's when that'll still be done, right? We just won't have to do it for ourselves. But reading on in verse 3, it says, without the veil of the testimony in the tabernacle of the congregation shall Aaron order it from the evening unto the morning before the Lord continually. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. So it was a person born from evening to the morning, which is a continual thing, because once the evening and the morning go in, you go to the next day and to the next day. So it had to be a surplus of the oil there for them. Verse 4, he shall order the lamps upon the pure candlestick before the Lord continually, and thou shalt take fine flour and bake 12 cakes thereof, and 2 tenth deals shall be in 1 cake. And thou shalt set them in a row, 2 rows, shalt set them in 2 rows, 6 on a row, upon the pure table before the Lord. So this is what you're seeing as the whole setup, right? You know, it's like you're going to a dinner and they set the table, right? You got the plates with the forks, the napkins, the little thing, the little decorative thing in the middle, whatever. So you got now a nice little table set. So in the temple, the Most High is telling Aaron and Moses how to set up the table with the showbread, the menorah, and all things that were necessary that needed to be in there. It says, and thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each row, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before the Lord continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. And it shall be Aaron's and his sons, that they shall eat it in the holy place. For it is the most holy unto him of the offerings of the Lord made by fire for a perpetual statute, right? So this is now when we go into the story of David, and they went and got the showbread, and they said, wait, don't you remember when David went, to the priest and got the show? This was very special moment, precedence, because as we just read, it was most holy only for Aaron and his sons to eat. Not any other Levites and their sons, but Aaron and his sons, because they now had the priesthood. But then comes David and his men with him that was hungered, and there was nothing else left to eat, prepared, but this bread that was holy unto the Lord. So it's good to do good for Israel. Like the Most High is not so strict and stringent where he wouldn't want you to partake in something that's going to help or bless someone else, right? Now, I can go into a whole another realm of the discussion, because somebody may say, well, you know, hey, the guy was hungry. You saying how they gave him the showbread, but they fed him pork chops. So what's wrong with them feeding him pork chops, right? Hey, he's trying to do something good. That's a whole nother that's a whole nother thing. But we'll talk about that in the classes coming up, because that's come up before. So now that was Leviticus 24:1 all the way down to 9. To link back up here in Numbers 8 and 1. I'm sorry, 2, 8 and 2. So now back in Numbers 8, we have verse 3. It says, and Aaron did so. He lighted the lamps thereof over against the candlestick, as Yahweh commanded Moses, or Marshal. And this work of the candlestick was of beaten gold, and the shaft thereof unto the flowers thereof was beaten work, according unto the pattern which the Lord had showed Moses, so he made the candlestick, from what we just read back in Exodus 25. That's how it was made and done. Verse 5, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the Levites from among the children of Israel and cleanse them, right? So now out of all the 12 tribes, the Most High is telling Moses that now you're going to go and take these Levites from the rest of the nation and cleanse them. How are we going to cleanse them? It says in verse 7, and thus shalt thou do unto them to cleanse them. So he's going to give you the instruction. Sprinkle water of purifying upon them, and let them shave all their flesh, and let them wash their clothes, and so make themselves clean. Right? So whoever just dialed in, if you don't have a question or comment, you can just go on mute so we don't have any background noises on there.
So like, yeah, Shamak, I know it's this background back here where we live at. So like, both the last verse now, Shamak, you mentioned.
In Leviticus 24?
Yeah.
1 to 9.
1 to 9. The water.
Ayanabar.
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Mark. I'll try to get with you again this weekend.
Most High willing.
Khan, Most High, the water. So it says here in verse 7 again, and thus shalt thou do unto them to cleanse them, sprinkle water of purifying upon them, and let them shave all their flesh, meaning all their facial, all that had to be shaven off, and let them wash their clothes, and so make themselves clean, right? So the nation now had to start from like a baby almost, right? Cleanse themselves because they now are being dedicated or being going to be used, joined to the Most High, right? So this has a precedence also set with it as we read down what the Most High is doing, right? I see your hand. So in this case, from that moment, the Most High had Moses go and tell all the people that, you know, this is what now you need to do, right? All your clothes have to be washed, and you got to shave off all the hair that's on your body, right? Shave it all down so that now you present yourself before the Most High. Now, one would say, well, why? Because it's what the Most High is telling you to do, right? Now, moving forward, everything will, you know, grow back, your beard or whatever. It'll go back to what it normally is from that point moving on. But this is like I don't want to use the word, I don't want to use initiation, but this is like your consecration to go into the Most High. Now, there was other points in the scriptures where you had to shave, shave for whatever rituals or vows or certain thing that you did, you had to go and shave off. Because I think as you read number 6, it had someone who did a vow that they couldn't, and then at a certain point they had to. So there's different times in there. But now just on a normal surface, right? This was done for the Levites, but now for the rest of the 12 tribes, we know it to be just our custom that we have our beards and we have these things, you know, normal on our bodies. There's a story when we was in war, we was held captives, and the men went and shaved off our beards, right? They went and shaved off the beards of the brothers. And when they came back, they told what happened. And so that have so much, you know, attention or focus or ridicule be upon them, they told them, okay, you stay back. You go back until the time when your beard grows, you start getting peach fuzz again on your face before you come back out to represent or to, you know, stand before Israel, right? So all of that has different times and different periods and when what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. Same thing with unleavened bread, right? You look at a certain time, the Most High says, eat leavened bread. Sometimes it says you don't eat leavened bread. And there's part of that even in the service. So a lot of this is Most High driven, right? So when we say, well, why he said this? Because the Most High said so, right? Gabar.
All right. Well, you already answered it, but you said, so you was bald, they shaved off all the hair on their body, man. It was bald headed.
Right.
And then off their arms and legs too.
Yep. Man, it's a long chapter. So.
Well, you already answered what I asked. So answer.
So when you look at it, because it says shave all their flesh, right? When you link it up with Leviticus 14, so this is a part of when we read about lepers, right? The lepers, one of the things or the points of how to be cleansed was they had to shave off all their hair as well. We read that previously. You can write Leviticus 14 and 8. Leviticus 14 and 8. Where it says, and he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes and shave off all his hair and wash himself in water that he may be clean. And after that, he shall come into the camp and shall tarry abroad out of his camp, out of his tent 7 days, right? So this was the statute for when a leper was to be cleansed or made clean. Now, he was already deemed it, but this is what you had to go through before you can be allowed back within the camp, and even for a specific time, right? So he had to shave off. When they say shave off his flesh, it said here, what? Shave off all his hairs, right? Shave off all his hair. So then you was clean. And then over time, as time goes on, it grows back, and then you don't do that again unless it's according to the ordinance. So that was Leviticus 14 and 8 to link up with verse 7. So now, verse 8, back in Numbers 8, it says, then let them take a young bullock and his meat offering, even fine flour mingled with oil. So that's letting you know what the meat offering is. Fine flour mingled with oil, right? And another young bullock shalt thou take for a sin offering. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel together. And thou shalt bring the Levites before Yahweh, and the children of Israel shall put their hands upon the Levites. And Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord for an offering of the children of Israel, that they may execute the service of the Lord, right? So this is a monumental point within the nation as far as for the Most High is now separating out this tribe, right? And he's going through a whole ritual, having all these people shave themselves, cleanse themselves with purifying water, then present themselves as an offering before the Lord. And the children of Israel now is going to now give them over to the Most High. That's what this ceremony is articulating. Because remember, we know moving forward, the Levites didn't have the same type things as the rest of the tribes. The rest of the tribes would then bring all of what they needed to have to dedicate to the Most High to the Levites, right? Because this says here that they're going to do the service for the Most High, right? So I'm going to read that again in verse 11. And Aaron shall offer the Levites, right? It's not, they're not going to be burned off. But what happens is, it's like when we did the wave offering. It's like you waved them before the Most High. So that the children of Israel said, here's your offering. This is to be accepted over you. So it's like a wave offering of the Levites to the Most High. In some of your Bibles, as a precept, if you have that in your Bibles, next to offer, it may be an X or it may be a number. Let me see if it's, because I have two Bibles. Let me see if it's in both. What does it say?
It says that some calls a raise to pass over, etc.
What verse are you at?
Well, you see it with
I'm on verse 11.
Okay, and it say offer.
Right, yeah.
And I got an X, and down here it say let them cause a razor to pass over, etc. ETC, that's abbreviation for etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it say right here, sir.
Yeah, I'm not on mine. It'll say wave for the offer, and then it says for the offering, wave offering. So I have two for each word, one for each word. But then it's funny because in
now you see something like that too.
in my other Bible doesn't even have any of those
what you'll say, buddy?
links on top of it.
Wave offering.
Right.
What you'll say? Yeah, man. He showed me his hair on his chin.
Yeah, that would have coincided what we read up in verse 7.
Well, that's what it says too. It got a 7 Hebrew period. Let them cause a razor to pass
right
over.
So that's what that, I think that's what that is for the verse 7, because I have that for that precept to go with verse 7 as far as when they said that they shall shave all their flesh. That would make sense for this.
Hey, wait a minute, hold on, man.
You know what's on the right, or you the magnifying glass.
Hold on, that was the X. It say on 11 Hebrew wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Wave offering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, where my thing is, man?
Okay.
All right.
So we in sync.
Need more glasses. I guess I got too strong for these.
So yeah, I'm gonna read that again and move on. Verse 11, and Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord for an offering of the children of Israel, that they may execute the service of the Lord. Verse 12, and the Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks, and thou shalt offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering unto the Lord, to make an atonement for the Levites, right? So now the Levites was being dedicated to the Most High, consecrated to the Lord as a wave offering. And then now they themselves would put their hands on the offerings, the sin and the burnt offering, right? So to make an atonement for them, right? To cleanse them for all the iniquity, all the issues or whatever that has happened. So this was always a staple within Israel as far as making an atonement. Right? When you numbered certain individuals, you would make this offering to the Most High as an atonement so that sin or any type of judgment wouldn't come back on you. Right? Now, a lot of this, some of this is just obedience, because someone would have said, okay, well, I've done this, but I haven't done the atonement part, or I haven't done that part. Well, then you have not followed it according to the Most High's way. Like, this is how he wanted it to be done. So that's what Israel did back then, when they was consecrating or dedicating the Levites to the Most High.
Sorry about that, man.
No, you good. Verse 13. And thou shalt set the Levites before Aaron and before his sons, and offer them an offering unto the Lord. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Right? So now this is why when you read this verse, you can highlight this verse, right? Because we know when we speak about the word holy, when it says something is holy, what does it mean? Set apart or separate, right? So now Israel is a holy people unto the Most High, right? Set apart from who? All the rest of the other nations. Because the Most High gave his love, he chose us, Israel, to now be set apart from everybody. Now, within the nation, within the 12 tribes, we're reading this here in verse 14. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel. So now you have another distinction that's going on. So now anyone who is not included or deemed to be holy within the nation are classified as what? Strangers, or what's another word? Gentiles, heathen, enemies, aliens. All these are the different words or titles and names that's given for everyone that's not deemed to be holy, right? Because holy means separate. The 12 tribes of Israel have now just been commanded to separate Levi from among them, right? So now when it comes to Levi, guess what? All the rest of the 11 tribes at that time, or 12 tribes at that time, were now looked at as being strangers to them. They were now strangers. So that's why you read in certain scriptures, they talk about a stranger should not touch certain things as pertains to the tabernacle. So it wasn't talking about the other nations. This now even talking about the other tribes. The other tribes are now strangers, because this has now just told you that Levi has been separated from the rest of the tribes. Now they are dedicated or given to the Most High. He says they are mine, right? You don't have the same claim with them now as I now have with Levi, because they're going to do a specific service for me. So I mean, we went through this in one of the holy days of saying, hey, when it's talking about strangers in the Old Testament, not even so much in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, it's going to tell you or name certain things as strangers, and it now also pertains to the Israelites, right? So that heathen stranger thing goes deep in Old and New Testament. So you got to look at both of them very closely in context. All right, so that was verse 14. Now let's move on to 15. It says, and after that shall the Levites go in to do the service of the tabernacle and the congregation, and thou shalt cleanse them and offer them for an offering, right? As we mentioned before. Verse 16, for they are holily given unto me from among the children of Israel, instead of such as open every womb, even instead of the firstborn of all the children of Israel, have I taken them unto me, right? So now the Lord says, hey, since I got these Levites, I'm going to take them instead of all the firstborn. So when did the Most High talk about that? Let's go to, I think, Exodus. Let me see if it's 24 or 28. Might be 28. One second. $34, not 24. It was Exodus 34. 34. So Exodus 34 and verses 19 to 20. So in Exodus 34:19, it says, all that openeth the matrix is mine, right? So it says, everything that openeth the matrix is mine. When it's talking about opening up the matrix, what it's talking about? Being born. All that come forth through the womb, right? That enter into this world are mine. It says, and every firstlings, right? So it's now when it's getting a little bit more specific, when you read context, it says the firstlings. So the Most High is dealing with the first that come through from the womb. It says, among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male, right? So now it's dealing with the male firstborns that come from the matrix. It says, but the firstlings of an ass thou shalt redeem with the lamb. And if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck, meaning kill him, right? So if he was an ass, the Most High is not taking that. You should redeem or give a lamb in its place. Then it says, if you don't want to do that, then he just got to be killed. But now here's the key. It says, all the firstborns of thy sons thou shalt redeem, right? So when the Most High says thou shalt redeem, the firstborn son was supposed to be given to the Most High, but then you redeem him with a certain amount of shekels of money, right? That had to go to the Most High, right? So the firstborns of all the sons of the nation of Israel was supposed to be given to the Lord, right? As a law, a commandment that, hey, I'm gonna have a firstborn son by my wife, right? Now that firstborn son that opened up the matrix from your wife, that has to be dedicated to the Most High. But you don't want to just say, okay, every firstborn male child that I have is now just given to the Most High. No, the Most High says that you can redeem your son, meaning provide an offering, a monetary offering of shekels of some sort to the Levites, to the priests, so that you can redeem or get back your child, right? So now that would happen, and there was a question that came up. What happens if a brother has 4 wives, right? Or 3 wives, right? Well, back then, if that was the case, the firstborn male child of each one of those wives would have to be redeemed, right? You say, okay, hey, I got a son by, you know, this one. Okay, I'm going to the priest. I'm going to offer the redemption money. My other wife now had a son. I got to go take that one and got to be offered the redemption money. But now they have other sons. You don't have to do that because it's only the firstborn son that enter the mix that comes from your wives. There's a scripture that talks about of all your wives or whatever. I forget what that scripture is. But now here it's talking about the firstborn. I see your hand. And then we're going to go to Numbers, the 3rd chapter, to get a little bit more clarity on the same topic.
All right. It said firstborn. So you said each. If he had 4 wives and he had 4 boys, then he had to redeem all 4 of them.
Right, from the firstborn of each wife.
And to redeem.
Meaning, so you have to go. It's like, say, I gave you something. Right? I gave it to you, but I want it back. And he said, well, it's mine now. So in order to give you, got to pay me. How much it's worth. So the Most High, I remember a few Sabbaths ago, we went through what the amount is when I think it was in the previous book. The amount is of what you had to pay for each type of redemption, right? And it was either redemption on land, redemption on people, redemption on houses, redemption on a lot of different things. The Most High gave the amount, and you had to adjust it based on, like, say, if it was land, it was based on the year Jubilee or what came in or what came out. If it was a house, it was the same thing. If you had a person that was given into like some kind of service, you would base it on that. But for this is different because this is just the firstborn that's just coming from the matrix or from the womb. That now is supposed to just be given to the Most High. And that person says, okay, I now have to give a redemption money for my son.
So if he didn't give that redemption money for the son, what would happen?
So then that's now you breaking the commandment of the Most High. Who knows what happened? The Most High can do certain kind of judgments on you. He can take that son if he wanted to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
you don't redeem that son. That means that he has to die like he did, like Isaac when he put Isaac up there on the sacrifice.
No, it's not that he would sacrifice him, but it would be whatever judgment the Most High has, right? So now as we read this, I think it's simple in context is to say that this was what you want to do. If you're a father and you have your child, you're saying, okay, I want, my son is not a Levite. He's not going to do this service, or I'm not making a vow to the Most High that says, hey, my wife was barren, like you read with was it Samuel, right? With Samuel's parents, his mother was barren, and she said, Most High, if you allow me to have a kid, I'll dedicate my son to you. I'll make the vow to dedicate my son. So when he was born, he was given over to the priest, right? That was it, and that's where he lived since the time he was an infant. But now in this case, you are a Judite, you are a Benjamite, you are a Simeonite, whatever. That order that we're reading right now doesn't fall under those tribes. This is just to say, hey, the firstborn of these sons would now have to be redeemed back. So it's like a monetary thing that you have to provide to the Most High for firstborn sons, right? So that you would not have to fall victim to whatever it is. Now, it's the same thing as like, hey, you're not supposed to eat swine's flesh, but you go and eat swine's flesh, right? What happens? You ask forgiveness. But let's say you don't ask forgiveness. What happens? You'll sin. But what's the judgment? Is the Most High going to kill you? Is the Most High going to beat you with stripes? Is the Most High going to take your job away? Is the Most High going to have you fall in an accident? It could be whatever. The Most High can have whatever. Certain laws, the Most High says, like, hey, if a man sleep with mankind, sleeps with a woman, sleep with a man, kind of like he would with a woman, she's supposed to be put to death. Like certain things, the Most High is just flat out. It's like, they're supposed to be put to death. Or you're dealing with an animal, you're supposed to be put to death. Or you do such and such, you're supposed to be put to death. You're dealing with idolatry. Like a lot of different things is flat out to the extreme so that you know. But then there's levels to the laws. So now Israel in context, we kind of understand the levels to the laws. They all fall under real top level laws, but the Most High can make that judgment on, okay, he did this. I may be a little slack on coming at him to see what he's going to do. If he's going to repent, if he's going to find an error in his way, if he's going to do something now, if you now starting to infest that spirit with everybody else and say, look, brother Daniel, man, this thing is good. It ain't even all that. It's mixed with beef and pork. It's mixed. Right now you coming all subtle, right? You trying to sway the spirit. The Most High may say, all right, this guy got to go. He got to die. Or I'm gonna bang him up real quick. Hey, Satan, get one of your minions to go down there and jack his body up, right? Most High can do or choose to do however he wanted to, right? So in this case, if you don't redeem, the fear is, the ultimate is that he can take my son, right? Or do something to torment me in place of his. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's the Lord's decision.
Taking your son, but he could if he wanted.
He could if he wanted to. That's why the scripture tell you that the Most High says everything is his. The gold is his. The land is his, right? The earth is his. He tells you specific. He's flat out in a lot of different scriptures. The earth is mine. The gold and the silver is mine. You are mine. He says we are his, right? So he owns everything, and it is up to him. He has the power and authority to do with it what he wants to do, or with us with what he wants to do. For quiet.
When he set up the boundaries and give everybody land, and then the year of Jubilee, even when was purchased a piece of land, it would, even though it's purchased, but it would be like a lease, because the Most High said you own everything, even though you're dealing in buying and selling. But it's not really buying and selling. You're leasing the land, but it's gonna go back to the same person.
Right.
It's more like a leasing agreement.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing like we were talking about for the holy day last week when it comes to the first fruits. We're saying we're giving the Most High our first fruits, but you're giving the Most High back his first fruits. Because he's the one, we didn't create the seeds. We didn't create the tomatoes and the crops and all that. We didn't create it. He created it and allowed us to use it. And he said, okay, this is how you're going to use it. I want you to give a portion of this during this time when it comes in. Then, if you're good with it, on the back end, I'm going to bless you so that you'll have enough on the back end, right? So that you can fill your barns, right? The Lord is the one who controls famines and dearths, right? We could say, hey, we need to get fed. But if the Most High don't want you to be fed, then you ain't going to be fed. You can try to do all you can do or try to fight against it, but Most High can even have that thing that you stored up all rot. You thinking you good and it's stored up in the barn, and you're like, I outsmarted the Most High. And then you open it up and it's all rotted out. You got all kind of worms and things all in there, right? That was a testimony of what happened in Egypt to show how the Most High was able to manipulate and do things at the drop of a dime. Turn all your water into blood. You thinking you already good because you got a water supply? I can make that water supply turn to blood like that. In every vessel, it's closed, it ain't even open yet, and all of a sudden, boom! Now it's all red. Plasma is filled in your water drinking vessel. So the Most High can do whatever He wants with all of His creations. But in this case, what He was saying is pretty much that, hey, the firstborns are mine. But He changed that up now. So it's saying the same thing here in Numbers 3 and 12. So Numbers 3 and 12, it says, and behold, said like, and behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel instead of the firstborn that opened up the matrix among the children of Israel. So that's what we just read in Exodus. that in Exodus, the firstborn of the children of Israel and all the other different cattle was supposed to be the Lord's. But now he's saying, hey, I'm going to take the Levites now instead of the firstborn of the sons of the children of Israel. Therefore, the Levites shall be mine. Verse 13, because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be, I am Yahweh. So he now owns everything. He said, look, I should be able to do with my own what I want to do, my own possessions, what I want to do. So on one hand, he said, hey, I've hallowed all the firstborn sons of the nation of Israel unto me. But instead of me taking them, I have chosen the sons or the children of Levi to be now the ones that I'm going to take for myself. That's going to be mine, right? But in all actuality, starting from when we came out of Egypt, he set that precedence and said, all of y'all is mine. The firstborn is mine. And I'm going to redeem. But now this is what I put into place, right? That the Levites are going to be mine. And then as you read throughout this chapter, he starts going through the numbering and the sons of Aaron, who's supposed to be who and who's supposed to do what. All right. So now let's go back to Numbers 8. Come.
The breaking of the neck. Whose neck was he talking about breaking?
The animal. The ass.
Okay. Because it was an ass.
Yeah. Because the ass, the donkey, is not an animal that you would normally have for like an offering. So it says, if you're going to redeem the ass, so you can give the ass for a service for the Most High, right? But it's not one of those lawful animals, right? So when you read back in Exodus 34, it says, if you're going to redeem it, give me a lamb, right? So now the lamb is a lawful animal that's going to be used could be used for the offerings or the burnt offerings or the sacrifice. The donkey cannot be used in that regard. It was just being used for a service, a beast of burden, right? To carry certain things here and there. Now, when the service is done for that animal, they're not going to offer to sacrifice it. It just has to be given back. So if you're going to redeem it, give me something in its place that can be used more properly for the service of the Lord. And then if not, then just break his neck. You're not going to give it back and just use it over again because it was first given to the Lord. Now you just kill it. If you don't have anything to substitute it after it's been given to the Lord and you don't want to redeem it, now it's just going to have to die.
But if you give him the sheep,
if you give him the lamb, then you can take it, and then now it's yours again, and you can do whatever it is for the service of it. And when you look at it, a lot of times, when we had within Israel, those of us who did certain work for one another, not bondmen, but you went and did task and you worked and you know how people like and Esau's when they call them indentured servants, like they worked for you for a certain period of time. But the Most High had that within Israel to distinguish what we did with the other nations. The other nations they would work with rigor. You never did that to your brothers. You never did that to those who was within Israel. But now when you had that and you had to now say, hey, I don't have the money to do or to pay off this, so I'm gonna come and work for you for a period of time. Right? I'm going to come and work for you until my debt is paid off. And that's the agreement, right? I'm going to now stand in and do that. But then now you got your family members. They're like, man, my cousin over there working and you don't need to do that. So now you're going to go and say, yo, I'm bringing my cousin home. And they're going to say, all right, well, if you're going to do that, you got to redeem him. You got to pay off that debt. You got to pay off what it is you owe. So you now had to provide some kind of substitute in place of him now coming away. You coming back home, or you now relinquishing him of his duties, right? So if you giving this to the Most High, the Most High says it's mine, it's supposed to be the Most High's. Well, if you want to take it back, you got to pay the redemption money. I forget which chapter it is that we read a few months back. You just pay the redemption money. So now let's go back to Numbers 8, and we at verse. I'm going to read 17. He's kind of going to say the same thing that we just read in Numbers 3. It says, for all the firstborn of the children of Israel are mine, both man and beast. On the day that I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. And I have taken the Levites for all the firstborn of the children of Israel. So again, this is reiterating what he's now changed or substituted for the firstborn. And I have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron and to his sons from among the children of Israel, to do the service of the children of Israel in the tabernacle of the congregation, and to make an atonement for the children of Israel, that there be no plague among the children of Israel when the children of Israel come nigh unto the sanctuary, right? So that atonement was, like we read during the Day of Atonement, to just cleanse them from all iniquity or all issues. If you didn't do that atonement, you may be liable according to the curse or the plague that the Lord was going to put upon you. So the Lord would always have it that they made an atonement for the priest, well, for the high priest, for the rest of the Levites, and then for the children of Israel, right? So this is what now the Lord has in scripture in various times to just highlight this fact. Verse 20, and Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel did to the Levites according to all that the Lord commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So did the children of Israel unto them. And the Levites were purified, and they washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as an offering, a wave offering, before the Lord. And Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them, right? So like we read up in verses 7, this is what now is transpiring in verse 21. Verse 22, and after that went the Levites in to do their service in the tabernacle of the congregation before Aaron and before his sons, as the Lord had commanded Moses concerning the Levites, so did they unto them. So it was just Aaron and his sons, so they just couldn't do everything by themselves. So the Most High said, I'm going to give you the rest of them from your tribe. So now everything that I have given you as a commandment that needs to be done, now you have the rest of your tribesmen to go and put everything in its proper order, right? So this is what now has happened. So they could go and do the service under Aaron and his son's authority. Verse 23, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, thus it is that belongeth unto the Levites. So now we're going to talk about which Levites is now being dedicated or consecrated to the service of the Lord. From 20 and 5 years old, from 5 years old and upward, they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. So now you had to be at least 25 years old before you went in to do the service with Aaron and his sons. Verse 25, and from the age of 50 years, they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof and shall serve no more, right? So now of all the Levites from 25 to 50, so you had a period of 25 years to stand and do the service before Aaron and his sons to the Most High, right? I think it's in Israel, the Israelis, right? Amalek that's over there, they have it where I think at a certain point in time, men and I think and women have to go and serve in the military for a year. I forget what age is that, but you have to go and serve for at least 1 year. Right, in Israel. Now, what I also found out was interesting, we was talking about places. I didn't know, somebody told me that they have a program where those who can prove or based on lineage that there are Amalekites or the Israelis, you know, Jewish that have rights to the title of being considered able to live in that land. Let's say if you're over here in America, they pay for you for free to go and stay in Israel, or what their whole thing is to try to lure you to go and occupy and stay in Israel, right? So you can go over there for free plane ticket, free accommodations when you get there, right? And it's free because guess who's paying for it anyway, ultimately, right? Because you gives tons of money to that place anyway annually. But for those who are here, especially the younger generation, they offer up a free plane ticket, free travel accommodations of boarding and food and everything else for about 2 to 3 weeks, because their whole objective is to get you to live in the land, because the fear is that the land is going to become more overly populated with Ishmael than themselves, right? So, hey, if we can get more of them, or if we get more of our people, so this is what them speaking, then we can now have a better chance of now predominantly inhabiting the land. If not, if we kind of, the older generation dies off and the younger generation not coming in, and you have them influxing this, we're going to lose the land, or we're going to lose power and control of the land. So they give them a free accommodations for and within certain programs. I found that interesting. It makes sense to me, but I found it interesting that, you know, they have that to do for them. But now back here, verse 25 again. So now 50 years old is your limit. After that, you're in retirement. 50 years ain't, what is it, 65 here now, 68? 68 for retirement. You retired at 50 years old from doing the service of the Most High. And you did it for 25 years, right? It says, verse 26, but shall minister with their brethren in the tabernacle of the congregation to keep charge, and shall do no service. So now they were kind of like consultants. They were the ones providing oversight to those who were still continually doing the work, right? Which made sense as well. It says, thus shalt thou do unto the Levites touching their charge, right? So after 50 years old, you still around giving guidance, right? Giving a little bit of advice. You may not want to do that, brother. I've been there. You might want to do such and such.
Knowledge sharing.
Knowledge sharing, right? Consult with the hoary head. And that's what the Lord set up, right? Perfect system. And you had the same things for a lot of different things, for war and everything else, where you had a certain age bracket that you went to war. And then now you were just like a counselor, you know. Esau does the same thing within his administrations, whether it be military, whether it be the political realm. You just have certain people who are still there, even though they're out of office, even though they're out of the military, they're still hanging around as aficionados, as counselors, as guys, right? Wise men, right? They can go and just lean on them and say, hey, I'm looking at doing such and such. What are your thoughts when you did it in your day? What did you do? Right? And that's what they did. So we see the Lord already had that established back in the beginning during the time when we came out of Egypt. All right. So this is the conclusion of Numbers, the 8th chapter. Next week, we'll be in the book of Mark, the 6th and 7th chapters. Mark 6th and 7th chapters. All right. So remembering today is the 7th day of the Feast of the Tabernacles. This evening, sundown, will be the closing ceremony, right? The 8th day, right? And the 8th day, we do not have to dwell in tabernacles or tents or booths. So, you know, if you were one who was doing that, practicing that law, then you can come out at sundown. You don't have to dwell in there anymore, all right? So we will have a service this evening. It will be on teleconference and live stream. Lord's will, we should start, you know, you got to be a little flexible somewhere between 9, 10 o'clock, or, you know, we'll send out the notice once we get ourselves situated with the provisions of the room and everything. But we will have a service this evening. So with that, I want to say Shalom Yasharella, Ashar Shabbat, or Happy Sabbath, and also Ashar Kak HaSakawath, or Happy Feast of the Tabernacles, 7th day. And Lord's will, we will hear or see each other this evening for the closing of the service. So Most High's will, everybody was able to receive the understanding. If not, please bring it up in the classes. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, for all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that is bestowed upon us. Lord's will, everybody has a productive, fruitful, and safe upcoming week. And shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
All right. All right. Let's Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Asherah, Natalanawa, Pari Hagapin, Thawara Amun, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Ath, Yasha Allah. Give me 1 second. I might upon you all, you're awesome. Stand and face Jerusalem. You like that? You like that improvised? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baba Kushai, Shammai, Lanawa, Aitha, Yum Yun, Aitha, Shalat, Mayaka Allah, Waha Allahayim, Tazwadakim, La, Shamal Ayel, Barak, Rapah, Magun, Waha Kazayat, Banya, Yasha Allah, Washalat, Lanawa, Rabium, Kakama, Rabium, Da'aith, Rabium, Bayana, Rabium, Sabalunwa, Rabium, Amawan, Rabium, Aqua, Rabium, Ahabium, Rabium, Agana, Rochanaya, Wasalat, Ko, Kata Ayamnawa, Laha'akim, Wayasha Allah, Thumyad, Waiwalam, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Thawada, Amun. English translation, Yahweh in the name of Yahawashai, pleases to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers of angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel, and send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection. Forgive all our sins for the brothers in Israel, for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahawashai, thank you. So be it. Four corners prayer. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Barak Nawa, Wayasha Allah, Wabath Yasaparim, Shema, Yasharella, Yahweh, Allah, Hayanawa, Yahweh, Akkad. All right. So again, Shalom, Yasha Allah, Shah Shabbat, Wa, Shakar, Sakawa. Happy Sabbath and happy Feast of the Tabernacles. Shalom.
Oh,